Okay, rolling. Okay, I'm going to cue in the music and we'll be good to go.
Welcome to Smashing Through Walls with Carla Magee. Whether you are just pulling up a seat to the table, breaking a glass ceiling, or smashing through walls, grab your favorite mug and join us on the first and third Friday at 11 o'clock for candid conversations with industry experts and decision makers as we navigate and explore all the things related to real estate and community.
Welcome to Smashing Through Walls with Carla Magee. I am super excited about my guest today because, as we all know, I am a mom first. I am a real estate agent second. And so today we are rolling with some punches and we are having an after school special. I have my two girls here, my future wall smashers, and I'm so excited for everybody to meet them. And we're just going to kind of have conversations about women in real estate or what it's like to be a mom and listen to it from, you know, like our kids' perspective. So introduce yourselves, girls.
Hi.
What's your name?
Katie.
Okay, hi.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Sami.
Okay, how old are you?
9.
11.
How-
12.
What grade are you in?
That's a trick question now.
It's not. She's going to junior high, and Sami is going into 4th grade. So we talked a little bit among ourselves about how I would answer question or ask them questions. So we'll see how it goes because, you know, they're kids. But being a mom first and being on summer break it's just how we're doing it. So girls,
Yeah.
what do you have questions for mom about real estate?
Yes, I don't really understand how real estate works.
What do you mean, like how the real estate mom sells works, or how do people buy a house?
Like, how do people buy a house?
Well, my first answer is always going to be to call someone like your mom, right? Because they are experts in their field and will help you buy a house. But as a kiddo, it's one of the things you could do is you could make sure that you understand what finances are, talk with your parents about when they pay bills and kind of what that means. Like, what's a mortgage? Well, that's a loan on your house, and it's what keeps you in your house, right? And kind of what house expenses cost. Because when I first moved out, I didn't know you had to pay to keep the lights on. I was like, what's a power bill?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And so they sent me one, and I was like, why is it so much? So I think, like, as a kid, if you can talk to your parents about the utility bills and things like that, then you at least have a leg up in the game. Does
That's
that
why I
make
don't like when
Yeah, that
Sammy
makes
leaves her
sense.
light on.
That's why you don't like it when
Sammy
Sammy
leaves her
leaves her lights
so
on.
much.
So do you think that what does buying a house mean to you? Like, if you were going to buy a house today, what do you think you would have to do?
I feel like it would be, I would have to do, like, a lot of working and paying the bills and a lot of cleaning.
Yeah, a lot of cleaning, huh? His
Like-
mom always
like
making you
cats?
clean.
Like kitty cats.
And picking up animals and building stuff together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you think, how much money do you think you would need?
like,
Enough.
like, maybe like 20,000,
$20,000?
maybe.
Okay, what do you think, Katie?
I'm gonna go with Sammy. 20,000.
So, if you bought a $100,000 condo, then you would need $20,000 to have 20% down on a $100,000 condo. The problem is, $100,000 condos don't exist.
Oh,
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So then you would need more money, and then that doesn't include closing costs because it costs money to give you the loan from the lender.
Why is everything so expensive?
Life is expensive. How are you going to combat that?
I'm gonna live at home. I'm not gonna move out. That's
Just
the
never
solution.
move a muscle.
Yeah, that's my
You'll be fine.
solution. Yeah.
That's your solution. You're just never going to leave mom and dad's house.
If I don't breathe, I won't be able to pay the air bill.
The air bill.
The air bill.
The air.
So, do you have? So that's what we call that is residential real estate. So those are like your houses. What kind of stuff has mom taken you to that she has sold?
Like this creepy warehouse. you drove me to the middle of nowhere.
So she's talking about an industrial property we had in Cave Creek that we were leasing out, and I needed to take her with me because I didn't have anyone to watch her.
Don't make a warehouse sound fancy. That sounds creepy. Don't make it sound fancy.
But people need warehouses to store things in, to operate their businesses in, and so you wouldn't want to live in there, right? So we call that commercial real estate, and that's what mom does.
That makes sense now.
It makes sense now. Have I taken you to any apartment buildings?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember which ones?
Creepy
No.
one.
The creepy ones. Why were they creepy?
Because nowhere you've taken me is not creepy. You've taken me to the middle of nowhere.
So apartment buildings are also called commercial real estate because they are extremely large buildings, but they need people to live in them. Like when you guys first move out, you will probably live in an apartment first. Did you know that?
Yeah.
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 How much do you think an apartment costs?
Right.
Like
10,000.
10,000. Yeah.
10,000
Yeah, about that.
a month?
No, maybe not months.
Maybe like, yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Probably.
like a year.
So $10,000 a year would be less than $1,000 a month. Apartments. The average 2-bedroom apartment in Mesa, Arizona is about $1,200 a month. And
Yeah.
it can go all the way up to $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
What about
Wow.
1 bedroom?
A 1-bedroom can start around $900 and go up as high as like $1,500 every month.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Just get a roommate.
That's a good idea, right? You could get
Yeah.
a roommate.
Yeah, me and Sam are gonna live together.
You guys are
No.
gonna live. No.
No.
You guys barely want to live together now, and you have your own rooms. So if you get a roommate in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's $1,200 a month, then now you're only paying $600 a month, right?
Yeah.
That sounds better, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Someone to split all the bills with.
Yeah, but then you also have to split your snacks with them.
Your what?
Your snacks.
Your snacks. You're gonna have to work. When I had a roommate, when I was in my early 20s, we had like a whiteboard, like your teacher has, in our living room, where we split everything. Like, it's your turn to clean the bathroom, or so and so called, because we didn't have cell phones back then.
That's funny.
That sucks.
Because it was the 1900s.
That's a long time.
Okay. So, what do you have any other questions about real estate?
I want to know how you can be a mom and do your job.
How do you think I do as being a mom and doing my job?
Taking breaks from work.
I do take breaks from work so that I can go to band recitals and assemblies and promotions, and sometimes there's parents that can't go to those things because they work in a traditional office and they have to take time off to do that. But mom's schedule is a little bit more flexible since I own the business myself, right?
Right.
Right? It's called autonomy.
Yeah.
Autonomy.
'Cause-
So, yeah.
Nothing.
How do you guys picture your time when you're growing up? Do you picture yourself in an office or a lab or out in what Dad and I call out in the field?
I would picture myself as like my start. I would picture myself as going in like a food place where I would like serve food and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would get into stuff like sitting in an office. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
And why do you picture yourself starting in food?
because it's easier and you can get money.
Can you work at In-N-Out for me?
No.
So, what she's talking about is I've always told my kids that if you're broken, you're hungry, go work in food because they'll pay you and feed you. And that when you're young, that's a good choice because you're broke and hungry.
And it's easy.
Well, I wouldn't call it easy. I think you'll find out when you do work in food that it is a lot of work and there's a lot of rude people out there and you are on your feet all day.
That makes sense.
You could just be a cashier with a chair.
You could be a cashier, but that's a lot of work too.
Yeah, you gotta have the skills.
You gotta have the skills, right?
That's what calculators are for.
Well, the cash register is your calculator.
Yeah.
So, Katie, how do you picture your future?
Starbucks.
You want to work at Starbucks?
Yeah,
And-
Starbucks sounds
No, you're
fun.
gonna eat Starbucks. Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it.
Well, and Katie says that because I keep telling her that Starbucks pays for ASU. So, she should start working in coffee so that it can help pay for her college. So, as you can tell, my kids and I talk a lot about money. We talk a lot about the future. We talk a lot about the tools that they're going to need as grown-ups, and so that I can have them at least somewhat prepared so that when their power bill comes, when they're 19, they or at least aren't shocked at it.
19?
Well, that's when I moved out.
That sucks.
You don't want to move out when you're 19.
No. No, I'm good.
Katie, what do you want to be when you grow up? How do you picture your working environment?
Brains.
You want to work on brains
Yeah.
because you want to be a
Neurobiology.
neurobiologist,
Yeah.
and you know that that's a lot of college, right?
Yeah.
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 How are you going to pay for that?
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Here's a biscuit. That'll teach me.
So it's really interesting to not only be one of the very few women in commercial real estate, because it is still a very male-dominated part of real estate, but also being a mom and a wife, right, to dad, and how I balance all of those to not only feel like what I think I'm doing an okay job most of the time, but number 4 commercial real estate agent in my brokerage was the award I just won, right? But I didn't go to the awards ceremony because I was where, Katie?
My band recital.
Your band recital, that's right. So sometimes that just means prioritizing my kids first, and like today, bringing them to the podcast and having them on, because that's just what it means to be a working woman and mom in my industry. How do you guys think mom does?
Good.
Does that sound like a question?
I think you do good at your job and being a mom.
Oh, why thank you, sweetie. What about you, Kate?
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
I'm doing a good job.
You do a good job.
Yeah.
You do a good job.
Well, considering they both just finished school yesterday.
Retired.
You retired?
I tired.
Oh, you
I'm
are
not
tired.
I retired.
You retired. Yes, Katie retired from elementary school and is now promoting to junior high school. But Sammy has not retired. She's just
I
tired.
cannot retired. I
No,
am just
no.
tired.
Katie, how do you feel about junior high?
I'm thinking it's definitely not like the musicals.
It's not like the musicals. That's probably
But the
true.
fingers crossed.
So, what do you think school could do differently that would teach you about like being a grown up or owning a house or buying real estate in the future?
Have your own class that teaches you this, like business.
Yeah, it would be good to have business classes and teach you about real estate and what it means to own it.
Teachers pay attention.
Teachers pay attention. Mental note. What if mom taught it?
Nah.
No.
No.
What do you think, Sammy? What could school do to prepare you for home ownership or
I think they could teach kids a little bit more about, instead of just teaching them how to like add money and stuff, they should teach you how to like read bills and how to add the money to pay them.
Right. So what we would call that is like our checking account, right? You make so much and then so much goes out in bills and mortgage and rent, whatever that looks like. And like, how do you we call that balancing your account, right? So what if mom taught you that? We could do that with your allowance. No.
I like my allowance just the way it is.
Yeah, good.
It's perfectly fine.
How much allowance do you get?
$20 a month.
No one could hear you. How much?
$20 a month.
$20 a month.
Sometimes.
When
Forgets
mom
a lot.
remembers to pay.
You never remember.
Yeah.
What do you do for that allowance?
I
Do
do the
chores.
you don't do anything. I do most of
true.
the chores.
So, okay, Katie, then what do you do for that allowance?
Chores.
What kind of chores?
Dishwasher and laundry.
Unloading the dishwasher and doing laundry, and we vacuum and we mop on
So
the
much.
weekends so much.
Sammy doesn't help a lot.
Well, so part of the reason for that is because Sammy is in karate.
Yes.
And she goes after school until 6 o'clock, and Katie doesn't have the same hours she does, so she does a lot of the after school chores. Sammy, what belt are you in karate?
Green.
What does that mean?
You're a frog.
That means I am officially an advanced belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What else do you do at karate?
I do ninja tricks.
What's a ninja trick?
It's not a ninja
Oh.
trick. It's multiple types of tricks, and they teach you them, and they teach you how to do cartwheels, headstands and handstands, vaults, rolls, many things.
What's a vault?
A vault is where you can jump over or hop over something. That's actually a really good question.
Then why don't they just call it jumping?
True.
So, and Sammy just got asked to be, or invited to be in Precision X.
That's their demo team.
That's their demo team. And it's a big deal because they haven't asked a green belt before or something like that. What were
No,
you
it's
telling me?
not that they haven't asked a green belt before. It's just I've never been invited to something like that.
And they go to like the fair and to
NFL,
to basketball games, to schools, and they do like tricks to demo what the kids learn to advertise for their business, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel not ready, and I just feel like I need some time
Yeah.
instead, and just oh yeah, sure, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Katie just got her own honors. She graduated NEHS from elementary school when she retired, when she promoted, which is National Elementary Honor Society. And she had to work pretty hard to get there. So that was really exciting that she was able to graduate with those honors. And it's not just grades, which that is a component of it, but it's also service to the school and to the community, teaching them how to be well-rounded people and adults. But so you already learned that, right?
I don't think I've ever well-rounded an adult.
You will be a well-rounded adult. How do you learn about servicing your community? Do you learn that because mom does it?
Sure.
Because you do PTA events?
I don't do them. I'm unwillingly put into
You're
them.
unwilling, you're voluntold to go volunteer at the PTA events?
At the fall festival, one of the teachers just come here and just set me down on the one of the seats. I didn't even want to be there.
What about you, Sammy? Do you get to volunteer when mom does the events?
I don't have to, but
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
if I want.
Well, when Katie joined NEHS, that was a component of it. There was a service component. Like they did Feed My Starving Children. They did, oh, there was stuff at the school. I can't remember. So it's important that we teach service to our kids, because without servitude, you can't have leadership. And if you want to teach the future leaders of America, then you have to teach them how to serve their communities and be part of their communities. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. So what other questions do you have for Mom about real estate, do you think? Do you know how long we've owned the house we live in?
No,
Couple of
about
years.
maybe like 4 to 5 years,
Since Katie was in kindergarten. So,
which is about 4 to 5 years.
no.
No, I'm
You're not 11, you're 12.
I,
And she just graduated from 6th grade. So we bought that house in 2015. And now, what we call appreciation, that house, we paid $270,000 for that house. And one of our neighbor's house with the exact same floor plan just sold for $570,000. So that house has grown $300,000 in 6 years.
it feels weird
So-
when you take off your headphones.
So it's important to own real estate so that you can have appreciation. And one of the benefits of that too is what you guys will find out when you go rent apartments is that people can raise your rent. Like you'll be paying your rent on time for a year, and then all of a sudden they'll come in and say, we want to raise your rent $300. $300 can be a lot of money, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you don't have a high-paying job.
Right? So when you own your house or your condo or whatever else, then that doesn't happen. So not only are you not having it raised so that you can count on what goes out every month, but you're earning what we call appreciation on it because the value of it continues to grow. So I think it's important for you girls, as soon as you can, to purchase a house and then get roommates, because then your roommates are renting from you and you become the landlord. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get the money so you can pay the bill.
That's right. And now you are gaining the appreciation on that property, and that could be your first investment.
Yes.
Seems smart,
Yeah.
right? You got to live somewhere, right? Yeah, you were going to have a roommate anyway, right?
Yeah.
So then there you go. And then who would help you put you into that house?
Mother.
My lord.
And then how are you going to save the money?
Now.
Start saving now. There
Maybe.
are accounts kids can have. Another thing you can do with your kids is you can make them signers on a credit card account. You don't have to tell them. And then as you pay your bills on time, pay your credit card bill on time, it's growing their credit score so that when they are young, when 18, 19, 20, they already have a credit score. Dad and I, when we first got married, we thought we were so smart because we had no debt and we just paid for everything with cash. Well, that made so we had no credit score at all. So we couldn't buy anything. So we had to go get a $500 credit card and use it for 6 months in order to start building credit. And if we did it where you guys are the signers on the accounts, you would already have a perfect, almost perfect credit score coming out of college or high school to then be able to purchase a house, get roommates, and start your real estate adventure early in life.
How high does your credit score need to be for you to get a house?
That's a really good question, Sammy. So for FHA, which is a federally backed loan, your credit score can be as little as 500. Most lenders don't want to touch that, and so they won't start until 580. That's a fairly low score that what it means is you have good financial sense, paid your bills on time, you don't have excess credit, you don't spend too much, and so it just means that you are a strong buyer or not, and then your credit score goes up from there and can go up to 850. So if you came out of high school with good credit because mom and dad made you signers on the account, you could have like a 700 credit score and be in good shape.
The higher it is that better, or is it the lower?
The higher it is, the better. And it also affects your insurance rates, right? For your car, for your house. You have lower insurance when you have a better credit score. When you set up your utilities for your house, they will charge you large deposits if you don't have a good credit score because they don't believe you that you can pay your bills. So having a good credit score all around is important for future real estate investing. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes more sense.
Absolutely not.
Why doesn't that make sense?
Well, probably because I would buy too many things.
You buy too many things? What would
Yeah.
you buy?
It takes all my willpower not to go to Walmart and buy whatever I see first.
Okay, Sammy, so you're going to have to buy the house and Katie will be your roommate.
Yeah.
No.
No.
She has to buy her own stuff.
She has to buy her own stuff. Yeah,
I can live with that.
you can live with that.
Yeah.
What do you want to go to college for, Sammy? We know Katie wants to be a neurobiologist. What does Sammy want to be?
I don't really know yet.
Do you want to come work with Mom?
No.
Why?
I just don't like math
No.
and things like selling houses.
Okay. So Dad is a sales engineer for commercial and industrial HVAC. Do you want to go sell HVAC with Dad?
No.
No?
He talks about boilers too much.
He does talk
he
about
ruined it for
boilers,
us.
huh? Boilers, pumps, hydronics, HVAC equipment.
Every time we go to school, he goes, "You hear that?
That's a boiler.
And me and Dad go on bike rides a lot. And so when we're passing by the school and he's like, the boilers are running today, I'm like, every time.
Is it kind of like when we drive down a street and Mom's like, "Oh, I sold that."
Yes, that's the exact same thing.
It just
But way more times.
It
Yeah.
just means that we are proud of what we do and what we've accomplished in our industries. That's all.
Okay, but imagine every time I go, yeah, I cut open that person's brain.
I think that would be pretty awesome.
That'd be weird.
And be like, I want to know more about brains.
I wouldn't. Actually, that's gross.
They-
Well, Sammy, you'll have to start thinking about it soon. And like, what you want to think about is like, what are your talents and what are you good at? Like, you are a very persistent person.
Sammy would argue that the sky's purple.
You
and
guys
she'd be
keep-
right.
You guys keep saying I would be a lawyer.
Oh, you would be an amazing prosecuting attorney. You're
I'd be like, but,
right.
but.
You're smart. You think well on your feet. You're articulate. I mean, what more? You argue well. You're a master negotiator. I think that's a perfect fit.
I'm too stubborn. She can't break me.
You're too stubborn.
Yeah.
Well, and last night she was telling me that she is frustrated with lawyers because they let bad guys get away with things. And I said that's called a defense lawyer. If a bad guy did something wrong, then they hire a defense lawyer to try and help them get a lesser sentence or try and get away with the crime.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes a lot
And
more
the
sense.
prosecuting lawyer is the one who puts the bad guys away,
Yes.
puts them in jail, and makes sure that they serve time for what they did. And that's what I was telling you could do. Because then you could be a hero, right?
Could be like, no, you go to jail now.
You go to jail.
Go.
Do you know how much college it takes to be a lawyer?
How much?
Well, you need a 4-year degree, so you need an undergraduate bachelor degree. And then I believe you need a 2-year master's degree. And then a 1 or 2 year, what do they call it? Juris something. But it's a Juris Doctorate or something. It's the equivalent of a doctorate, which is what your sister's going to have to get to be a neurobiologist. So it sounds like both of you are going to be in college for a long time.
Jury's doctorate?
Juris Doctorate. So juris meaning judicial, right? Lawyer, attorney. And then doctorate meaning like that's the level of education that you have. I'm sure my phone will probably text me here in a minute with somebody who tells me what the right name of it is, but that's what it is. And you guys would basically both have the same level of education, and that's about I think 6 to 8 years of school. More after high school.
And how much money would that be?
How much
But I
money would
would-
that be?
I would make big bucks.
You would think you would make big bucks, huh?
I would.
Yeah,
By how good I am.
yeah. And what kind of house do you think that could buy you?
Like our house.
Like our house? Or-
Yeah, like our house.
Probably.
Being a jury must be hard because you have to be neutral until you can't anymore.
When you are the juror,
Yeah,
when
the
you're in a jury.
Yeah, you have to be neutral. That's kind of hard.
It is hard. Don't you think that would be hard?
That'd
And
be
the
hard.
lawyer's job is to, the defense attorney's job is to make people believe beyond a reasonable doubt. And a reasonable doubt just means like, I could see how that could happen. That's it. So the prosecuting attorney's job is difficult because they don't want the jury to have any doubt. And your job as a juror is to keep an open mind until it's over and then make a decision on someone's life.
I want to be a juror.
You want to be a juror? That's a volunteer. That's not even a volunteer.
I will.
That's a voluntold position, like Mom does with the PTA. You get what's called jury duty once you are 18 or over and are able to vote and are a registered adult in your state. And so that they get a jury of their peers, they tell you you are going to do jury duty. Mom's never done jury duty. I shouldn't probably knock on wood somewhere. But I don't think Dad has either. I think we've gotten out of it in one way or another. But I know people that have. And that, but sometimes you have to sit there for days depending on how long the trial is.
Just say you died.
You can't. There's a death record when people die. There's literally a certificate. You have a birth certificate
And you have a death certificate.
and you have a death certificate.
The best way to fake your death is just to say that you went to Mount Everest. It's not like they're gonna find you.
You think you could just climb up Mount Everest and just disappear?
No, I'm saying that if you just tell people that you're gonna do it and then you disappear, they're not gonna go look for you.
They're not.
They're just
Even-
going to be like,
even
oh
if-
yeah, she just...
Even if they did, it's not like they're gonna find you.
So, then would you live on the mountain?
Nah, you
Not
change your identity, your name, and live somewhere else.
How are you going to do that?
Dye your hair.
Yeah,
But it's not that
hair dye's
easy.
the
That's
best
why we have
solution.
certificates and social security numbers and driver's licenses and legal forms of identification. Now you can't buy a house. Now you can't rent an apartment. Now you can't get a bank account. Now you can't get a job. You can't get anything that requires those forms of ID.
Why do they have to make fake your death so hard?
Can't you just like be like, want to switch?
Want to switch? Want to switch
switch.
people?
Yeah, I want to switch lives for a couple
No,
of
it's
days.
it's a lot more complicated than that, and it's so that everything can be kept track of and keep records of at the big database, which is our U.S. government.
Just find someone and be like, who looks exactly like you and be like, yeah, you want to switch? Do you not like your life?
just kill your doppelganger. It's easy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, girls, we're gonna start wrapping up. So, do you have any more questions for Mom?
Do you have an outro?
Do you have any more questions about the show for Mom, about real estate, about being a mom, about being a woman in business, anything like that?
That is my question. Do you have an outro?
We do. Okay, Sammy.
Why did you want to be a real estate agent?
Why? Actually, do you want to know the truth? So, Mom has a degree in finance and management, right, from the University of Washington. We all know that. And I went to work at Boeing, and then Katie was born, and I took a break from Boeing, and I went because they were not flexible at all. They would not let me spend any more time with my baby. They're manufacturing, and that's just how it was. So then I went to Microsoft, which since now it's IT, I was an executive level project manager. And so it was a little bit more flexible. I could work from home when one of you was sick or something like that. But when I got pregnant with Sammy, they decided that they didn't need my services anymore. because I was a contractor, and so I basically trained my replacement. So I didn't work for Microsoft, the company. I worked at Microsoft through a contracted employer. And so that was fine because I was struggling whether I stay at home with my newborn or not. So then I stayed at home with my newborn, and then I decided that Dad and I already had the hobby of real estate on the side, and that I would turn that hobby into a career because I was always happy when I was doing it, and because I had the autonomy and flexibility that I wanted, so that nobody could ever tell me that I couldn't spend time with my kids. And that was why. And then the rest is history.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you work for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something.
You have a call.
That's something to think about too. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
No?
No, we're good.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope that was entertaining listening to my kids today. Sometimes as a parent, as a person in business, having that autonomy doesn't always mean that everything's structured, and you just kind of roll with it and have to be flexible. So thank you, girls, for being on the show today.
Yes, you're welcome.
And I hope you learned something, and I hope the listeners learned something too. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
You've been listening to Smashing Through Walls, a place for robust conversations about the building and blocks of Arizona commercial and real estate investments. Host Carla Magee is a commercial real estate broker with MHG Commercial, powered by My Home Group. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily the opinions of My Home Group and do not constitute any offer or advertisement of business or services. The real estate market is cyclical, and listeners assume all responsibility should any return on investment, tax consequences, credit effects, or financing terms not meet their expectations. Guests may not be qualified to provide financial, legal, or tax advice regarding a real estate transaction. Listeners are advised to obtain professional tax and legal advice and counsel.